Aloha and welcome to the Kukui Connection. I'm Marilyn Lee and this is a weekly show where we talk about political issues, community issues, and issues of cultures and the arts. I have a very interesting guest today and he has a really important story to tell. His name is John Henderson and he is the co-founder of Night Run and the founder of Holo Mua on Wheels. And we'll find out what those two things are in just a minute. Welcome, John.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
So nice to have you here.
Yes.
And as we were talking just a little bit before the show started, we come from similar places in the country and went to school at places that were not too far from each other, at Ithaca and Syracuse.
That's correct, yeah. I'm originally from Boston and I went to college in Ithaca.
Yeah, that's just a stone's throw from Syracuse and Schenectady, where I was born.
Absolutely. They were all upstate New York.
And we're both out here in Hawaii to get away from all that snow and ice.
I think that's exactly right.
So tell us a little bit more about you.
So I'm originally from Boston. I went to college at Ithaca College and I got a degree in biochemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I left there, went back to the East Coast and did some research at Columbia and Harvard, and then realized that I didn't want to be in a cubicle, that I wanted some more adventure in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied for a program called Officer Candidate School, and I went into the Coast Guard, and then I got accepted into a dive program where then I actually left the Coast Guard, went to the Navy for about a year and trained to become a Navy diver. And then I came back, and they stationed me on a boat called the Kukui.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That boat was stationed here in Honolulu at Sand Island, and I came here in 1997.
Wow, so you're getting to be a kama'aina already.
I guess if the rules apply.
So unfortunately, was it not long after you were here that you had an unfortunate accident?
No, I had been here, so I came here in 1997, and I was hit by a bus in 2009.
Oh, so you were here for quite a while before
Yeah,
that?
I had made a life for myself here. I was lucky. I got out of the military in 2000, started working for a pharmaceutical company, and got into medical sales. I originally thought that I wanted to go to medical school or continue with my PhD, and ended up learning about sales and marketing, and it was pretty interesting to me. I didn't think I would be interested in it because I was kind of a science geek, but I was. And then I just grew with that business, and then when I was growing up and through high school, I put myself through high school and college by doing construction. And in 2002, I bought a house. And I bought a house in Kailua with a buddy of mine. And I was in my 20s, and I'm thinking, this is crazy. I'm buying a house. I'm not responsible enough to do this. And we ended up fixing it up because I knew how to do a bunch of things. And I started my first business there, actually, with a rental. And the next thing you know, working pharmaceuticals, and I played soccer in college, and I played semi-pro out of college. And so there wasn't very much soccer going on in Hawaii at the time, in the early or late 90s, or at least from the level that I was playing at.
Right.
And so I decided to run a marathon, and I ran my first marathon, where I met my coach and good friend Howell from Boca, Hawaii. And I did my first marathon, and I did pretty good, and I said, wow, this is something. Maybe I should keep up with this. And then the next thing you know, I did a half Ironman the next year. I did pretty good at that. I'm like, wow, maybe I got something here. And then I did an off-road triathlon, did really good. And then the next thing you know, I'm doing multiple triathlons, Ironmans, endurance races, all these things. And it all actually stems from originally athletics, all the way growing up. Athletics is what got me to college. It gave me my scholarship. And then it's always been a huge part of my life. I was a personal trainer through college and then worked doing that. And fitness and athletics were like a part of me. So like I had a part of me that was like construction, science, athlete. You know what I mean?
Quite a combination.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, I would say.
Well, actually, some of it goes together a bit because all of them take a lot of training and
Yeah.
a lot of practice and
Yeah, and I get discipline.
discipline. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, anyways, to move forward from there, I started doing quite a bit. I did 4 different Ironmans and multiple. I've done 75 to 100 triathlons, and I grew this resume of always placing really well and getting pretty fast, and started getting some sponsors. And in 2002, I did a multi-day race in Maui, which was a 3 full day race where you raced for 3 days all the way around the island of Maui. And it was called an adventure race. And I did it with my friend. You did it in teams, and it's basically a scavenger hunt. And so I came back, and my coach, Howell, and good friend, we came back from that. And at the time, adventure racing was the fastest growing non-traditional sport. At least the book said that. So we decided to start a company called Adventure Race Hawaii. That was in 2003. And we did a bunch of adventure races. We did about 4 of them all at Kualoa Ranch. We did one on the North Shore. And then we also supported that because I had a lot of leadership management training from the military by doing corporate team building for companies, local companies. And so that was good, and at the same time I was still working pharmaceuticals training. And then as time went on, as my racing career went on, I realized that I could only get to such a high level. I'd never become like the best in the world. And so it also was the time where housing was going down, 2006, 2007. And so I decided to sell my house with my friend, and I made a bunch of cash doing that off of what they call the boom. And I got a house in Wailua, and it was the perfect training grounds. I lived right in a little camp called Ranch Camp behind Wailua High School. Beautiful area. And I could run and train in the roads out there, and it was safe, and I just loved dirt and being outside. And I built that house myself, and then I decided at the time that real estate wasn't the thing to do, and then adventure race wasn't really moving forward that well, and I decided to go into medical devices.
And that's the company that you still run.
I actually worked for a company called Circon ACMI, and then they were bought by Gyrus, and then eventually by a company called Olympus. And I was managing 3 divisions for them, and I was at the time teaching minimally invasive techniques for surgery. And I worked with a lot of GYNs locally, and we would help train them to do laparoscopic hysterectomies. And this was 2007, 2008. And we were really helping patients doing a lot, because a woman that gets a hysterectomy can sometimes be in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Right. Well, that was major surgery. Also, cholecystectomies were done laparoscopically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can see I'm a nurse.
Well, absolutely, and that's exactly what we talked about before. And so now a woman that it would take her 2 weeks to stay in the hospital and then a month off of work, we literally had the ability to train a doctor to come in. The patient could come in the morning and literally go home that night. And so it was revolutionary. And now we see at Queens and Kapiolani, the gold standard is the Da Vinci robot. But before the robot was people doing it with their hands laparoscopically. And so I was involved in that, and then in 2008 I decided to start my own company.
Which is Minvatech Hawaii.
Yeah, and it stands for Minimally Invasive Surgical Technologies.
Oh, very interesting. I don't think most people realize that, how much technology has invaded the science of surgery.
Absolutely.
And, you're not a surgeon, but basically you are actually assisting the surgeon to do his work.
I specialize in the equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and the physician specializes in the surgery and the anatomy.
Yeah.
And that's it. A lot of people don't realize at any given time for any surgery, in the room is going to be a doctor, somebody helping him, a nurse, a scrub tech, an anesthesiologist, and a rep.
At the same time, these advances have really made it a lot easier for patients to undergo some of these procedures. So
Yeah,
it's great work.
yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
So go on with your story and how you became the co-founder of Night Run and
So
will
yeah,
be the
so
founder
so
of,
I mentioned that Adventure Race was kind of just laying dormant
Uh-huh,
there, and my friend Howell and I still owned it, and it was kind of a passion of ours, and we didn't want to let it go or to just shut it down. So we always talked about just doing like something adventurous. So it was Adventure Race Hawaii. So something adventurous, but that more people could do, like an easy run or something. And the reality is just running at night is fairly adventurous.
Of course.
And like
yes.
hanging out or camping with a headlamp on, it's fun and adventurous. And so we had this idea for this this night run, and ergo I meet my wife in 2007, and we're together in 2008. We're training for a half Ironman, of which I was not really going to race very much, but I was helping her do her first. And we were riding up Cam Highway on our way from Haleiwa up to Dole Plantation, and we were on the side of the road, and a bus took me out from behind, and that was in May 2nd, 2009. And my wife was literally as close to you or to me, and the bus took me out from behind and didn't even touch her.
Oh, dear. Mhm.
So I'm blessed because of that,
Oh, absolutely.
because I have her. And then I went through, I essentially died. I had a kind of a 0.05% chance of living.
You were in a coma.
Yeah, for about, I think 11 or 12 days.
Wow.
I took 34 units of blood. And you being a nurse, how many units of blood go into one human body?
Well, I guess as many as you need, but that's a lot.
Well, your body has about 11. So I had to take three full human beings worth of blood just to keep me alive. And so went through 18 hours of surgery. I broke pretty much everything from here all the way down to my knees. And somehow the awesome people at Queens put me back together.
You're looking really great.
Wow, you look great too.
Thank you.
And so then I went and did my rehab in Denver for a specialty center for spinal cord. And I slowly gained some feeling back, and I can walk a little bit with a walker, and I feel blessed, you know. It's very unfortunate what happened to me, but there's also inside little good things, and that's what I try to do, is look at the good things. So Night Run was always there. We were always talking about it. And now I'm sitting there, and now I'm in a wheelchair. And so a friend of mine approached me in early 2013, and he was becoming the president of Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, a local chapter in Hawaii. And he asked me to become a board member, and I said, well, if I become a board member, I want to be able to give back. And so how can I help? How can I help? What skill sets do I have? Rather than just writing a check. Like, I don't want to just write a check.
Right.
And
you've
so
been a doer for so long.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so then I was like, well, you know what I'll do is I'll do a night run for you guys, and we'll do a fundraiser. And so we did our first one in 2013, and it went really well. And then 2014 came around, and we did 3 in 2014, and then as we were about to roll out and do the races, my good friend Howell, he has a very, very busy business called Boca Hawaii. He puts on most of the races and marathon series and clinics and all these things on the island locally, and has a triathlon shop. And he just was too busy to be able to like do Night Run and all the other stuff that he was doing. And so I got to the point where he wasn't my partner anymore, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this alone. And so the next thing you know,
you want to fill up your glass?
I can.
Here you go.
Thanks. Excuse me, I'm just thirsty.
Well, talking a lot makes us thirsty, so I'll take a little
I'm
drink
talking
here,
a
too.
lot. And so the next thing you know, I regrouped and I said, well, why am I going to do all of this? It's a lot of work. I can't even run. And, you know, why even do this? And I said, well, it's not about me. It's about everybody else. And so it was a turning point in my life where it was my opportunity to give back, but yet still be involved in the athletics. And I still am. My wife is one of the best triathletes in the state right now, and I coach her, and I'm coaching a few other individuals, so I stay in the game. And night run has been my way to give back. And then I've also, since 2009, been trying to figure out everything I could possibly do to do athletics like I did before again. And so that's why I'm launching a nonprofit called Holomua on Wheels. And that's happening this year. And Holomua in Hawaiian means progress. So our whole thing is like, move forward, keep rolling on. And so Holomua is going to provide an outlet for people to get information on adaptive sports equipment, because I have a toy box, a really big toy box that I've been fortunate to be able to have the resources, the knowledge through medicine, through construction, friends that do fabricating, all these different things to customize everything from motorcycles to bikes to all these things. So I'm active. So I want to share those things with people.
That's great, and people can find out more about that. You have a website?
Yeah, it's holomuaonwheels.com.
And then we're going to show that up on the screen so that
That's
people
very
can
nice
write
of
that
you.
down. And
Right now,
find
we're
out.
building the site, so the mission statement is on there. But hopefully people will see more of it this year. And really, in the end, my real goal is to get able-bodied people to try these toys. I call them toys, but they're not. They're specialized pieces of equipment.
Assistive
And
devices,
yeah,
really.
and really, I mean, the concept for that, excuse me, came up from, I would have a lot of friends that would always, I'd switch into a regular chair, and then they'd get into my wheelchair, and they'd almost flip over, and it'd scare them. And I said, well, it's a little bit harder than you think. And I said, why don't you try to go out and open the door and over a bump? And they're just like, this is hard. And all of a sudden I said, well, wait a second. Just by putting a friend in a wheelchair, I can create this awareness. And so that's kind of what the whole concept is. It's awareness. And then night run has been taking off. We have 4 night runs this year. You can check it out. Our website is nightrun.com. So it's NITE run.com.
We're going to show that on the screen as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And we have 4 night runs this year. We have one coming up this Saturday, May 23rd. And then we have one at Capilina on the west side, July 18th. We have one in Kailua, October 10th. And then we have one in Haleiwa, December 19th.
And those are to benefit the juvenile diabetes.
The one in Honolulu is, but actually we're going to try to raise money to build a new playground for Iroquois Point Elementary School in July. And then we're going to try to raise money for the Boys and Girls Clubhouse of Kailua. And then we are, of which now I'm working with the kids there, because the kids love to try the wheelchairs and try the new bikes and stuff that I do. And then I love working with the kids. And then in Haleiwa, we're hoping to raise some money for Wailua Elementary, because as we know, like great schools like Lelehua and Wailua now are becoming better and better, and it's all about infusion of community and support.
Well, that's just great, and you know, you're really to be commended, to be giving back to the community, and you know, you've done so much. It's really kind of unbelievable, and I really want to commend you. And thank you for being on the show and sharing.
I can't thank you enough, actually. You're such a wonderful person, and I feel honored to be here.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope that you'll come back to the show again and tell us more when Holomua gets
Yeah.
really gets going, and we can share that with others too.
I also have a construction company that we haven't even talked about yet.
Well, I don't know there's only 24 hours in a day, how you get this all
That's
done.
what everybody says to me. I think I've been working since I was 12. I didn't grow up with much, and it's just I work. That's what I do.
And you also accomplish a lot. And
I try to.
And you're meeting a lot of the goals that you have. It's not always easy, though.
No, life brings challenges, but the test of a person, a man or a woman, isn't about when the sun's shining, right? It's about when you're under challenges and how you overcome those. And if anybody has the ability to come out of something that's challenging in their life, it can be something as simple as breaking a leg, or maybe that's not that simple, or pricking your finger, or a death in the family, or something like that. It's how you position that and how you move forward from that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate your being
Thank
on the
you.
show.
I'm honored.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to the Kukui Connection. We've been talking with John Henderson. He is the co-founder of Night Run, and he's the founder of Holomua on Wheels. He also runs a business, medical device sales. It's called Minvatech Hawaii.
Minvatech.
Okay, remember that. And thank you for tuning in. We'll be previewing this show at 8:30 p.m. on a Thursday night in 2 weeks, and on 3:30 p.m. the following 2 Saturdays. Aloha, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Aloha to you.